ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting edition of Two Guys and Some Horror. Sorry, I get the two words mixed up so much. And speaking of horrors, well, we're not talking about my mother. Today, we're talking about us whoring out to watch more horror movies during this Halloween time, taking advantage of the wonderful season. So today, we're diving deep into the mines, and we're also exploring the House of a Thousand Corpses. Now, Curtis, I want your quick opinion on these two movies. What are your thoughts on The Mine?
I fucking hate you, Clark. I hate you so much right now. That was a terrible film from beginning to end. Terrible film.
I 100% agree. I was looking for horror movies that actually took place on Halloween, and this was, for lack of a better word, unfortunately on the list.
It does take place on Halloween, so there's that.
It does take place on Halloween, and there's very little dress up. There's very little to do, and there's very little horror. Actually, I don't know why this is even considered a horror movie. It's like they tacked on ghosts at the end.
Yeah, I'm still confused about that because hell, the writers didn't even know what they were doing. So what did we get? Nothing.
So
no closure.
It halfway felt like they made this movie for teenage girls because there was like a cute jock character with goofy looking teeth that I couldn't look away from every time I saw his face. There was your fat kid, the fat, kind of dumb, claustrophobic kid. There was an Indian kid, lots of racism towards Indians in the movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yes, I used to work in a call center.
Which was also just a bunch of bullshit.
Yes, I made about, $100,000 in India, United States dollars, by working in a call center for how many years, Curtis?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
It was like 1 or 2. It was not long enough to make $100,000. It was just a bunch of racial jokes towards him. He's like, please don't try to pronounce my name again. I was like, yeah.
We have a very good Indian friend that we both worked with, and Natish. And like I want him to watch this just so we can get his opinion on that character and the racial profiling that they did throughout the film. Because I mean, honestly, that character was the only character that I paid attention to a lot of the times because he was likable, and he was the only one who didn't really seem to get scared at anything. Which anyone watching this movie, neither should you.
Are you kidding me? He was scared the whole time. He was like, oh, please don't say ghosts. I hate ghosts. He had the most inauthentic Indian accent, too, by the way. He definitely does not. It's not a real accent.
Did you look him up at all? Is he legit? Not legit?
I didn't look him up. I'm going to be blunt here. I didn't look up anything about this movie besides the fact that I hated it. I have the IMDb up here. It felt like it wasn't worth the time. They don't like he does have an Indian name. It's just let's see. Sharan Prabhakar. And he played Ethan. He was born in Chennai, India.
Okay, so he's a legit Indian. So he's not born and raised here trying to be Indian in a film. Like, he was born in India. The accent's probably not too fake, I would guess, but he maybe laid it on thick.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was some level of BS hinted in his voice. He was a writer, interestingly enough, for Silicon Valley. If you've seen that show,
I love that show.
It's one of the best.
Awesome.
But besides that, the fat kid was scared of he was claustrophobic. Skinny girl was dating the cute guy. Other skinny blonde girl, she used to date the guy but broke up with him. There was like some drama back and forth between the two of them. That was about the movie right there. They're going in a mine and they're digging through. There are jump scares here and there. The most interesting, I would think, the best part of the movie is when the slasher kind of shows up and you think the girl dies.
I loved that twist of the film. That's probably the best part of the film, in my opinion. Yeah. If you're like, let's be honest here. This is not a good movie. It's a terrible movie. I hate you for picking it. I I don't really know what else to say other than if you're not into horror films or you get scared very easily, this is a great film for you. Like you could watch this film and get away with saying that you watched a horror film and it didn't scare you. Like
This was,
so
yeah.
if that's what you're looking for.
This was a Degrassi episode.
Holy crap, yeah.
This was a
Yeah.
Degrassi episode, 100%. I don't think there's a better statement or likeness for this film. It was just, what if Degrassi went in a mine and nobody died? One person does die. I don't think it's worth spoiling. It's the cute boy. He's trying to save someone. They're in the mine. There's talk of like spirits and stuff, and the mine starts collapsing on them, and they all get out except for the kid. He gets crushed to death. Or no, the girl kills him because she thought he was someone else. Like she manslaughter right there, or murder even. And she's like at his funeral, just standing there looking all sad, which if you kill someone, I don't think that's going to be the case. She should not have been at that funeral for murdering her ex-boyfriend.
We're giving this film a little bit too much credit here because
Yeah.
honestly, at the end of this movie, I still don't know what the fuck is going on with that girl. Is she possessed? Is she not possessed? She's editing the footage. Like, oh, that's a fun fact too. Not only are we going to have like a bad Degrassi episode, but we're also going to make this partially a found footage film, which by the way, there are good ones. This is not one. So don't even give it that credit. But it uses a lot of found footage. And I'm just not a fan of it. Like I said, the best part about this movie is the whole everyone's getting killed, and then they flip the script on you, and hey, joke's on you. No one's really getting killed.
That's right.
That was probably the best part of this film, and sadly, that's like just a drop. That's like 10 minutes of the movie.
They shouldn't have sold it as a horror movie. They should have just sold it as like kid plays practical jokes on his friends and made this like a made for TV film, but they didn't.
No, they missed their opportunity there. They definitely.
From what I read, this movie was filmed in Switzerland. I don't.
Okay.
I
It
don't
looks
see
like a
anything
farm
about
town, like a real farm town. I don't know. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Do not recommend this movie. Do not watch this movie drunk. Do not watch this movie sober. Do not watch this movie under the influence of any substances. Do not watch this movie, period. Give this a 0 out of 0. Best actor in the film was nobody. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Low budget,
So,
low everything,
oh man.
low brow.
In India, we worship cows, and here in your city, the cows are real fat and happy. Like, like that's the line.
They will protect us.
Yeah,
Was
they
he
will protect
supposed to
us.
be sarcastic?
I don't know because everything about his Indian character was fake. Everything, like he lied about being in the service in the call center. He lied about certain things. That's what I'm saying. Like, was he really scared, or was he like laying it on, or did his? So you mentioned his bad accent, which makes me laugh because maybe his bad accent was so bad because he was bad at acting that it made his accent sound fake. Like he's just bad. I don't know. And if you don't remember, it's Halloween. They say it at least 10 times leading up to the mine. That is to help you remember that it's Halloween, which is why you picked this film. And I don't know. How about we don't go in the fucking abandoned mine shaft? Like seriously, you could have saved your guys' like every moment in this movie that might have been death defying could have just been like, don't go in the mine shaft. You're
Don't
just
go in the
camping.
mine.
Yeah, you're just camping outside.
Yeah. The girl almost
Gosh.
left, and he's like, "There are wild animals out there." Oh, fine, I'll stay.
Did you pick up on all the political quotes in this movie as well?
I did not. Could you please go into detail?
Yeah, so there was a lot of like presidential quotes that were used in this movie. Like they kept quoting different. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I didn't write them all down, but I kept picking up like only thing to fear is fear itself.
Okay.
And there was another one, and I wish I actually had written them down now. But the Indian guy a lot. He spoke in political quotes, and he was quoting. You could tell he was quoting it, not like coming up with these off the top of his head or anything like that.
Teddy,
But I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like
What
the
was-
writers sucked so bad that they just pulled from presidential quotes, and they're like, "This will help. This will make it worthwhile. People will recognize this."
I don't even know if there was a writer. I think there's just some guy who's like, "Hey, here's a Degrassi script. Let's turn it into a movie."
Speaking of which, I heard about a movie last night that I'm going to make you watch now. Um,
Okay.
Apparently, it's not the worst, but one of the worst horror films ever made. And the girl, so this guy was interviewing this chick who was in it, and basically they only wrote half the script and then just freeballed the second half of the script, and that's when she realized that this was a terrible movie.
It's not
Um,
Planet Nine or whatever that movie's called,
no, it's called
which is
Serial.
Serial.
Yeah, and it's a low budget, very low budget horror film. And I'll get you more info on it later, but it's going to go on the list for like a summer, maybe a spring or a summertime film for sure.
I held
But
back a dad joke on that, so you
it's
should be proud of
payback
me.
for you, you son of a. No, I want the
It's
dad
payback for me.
jokes.
You know what? You know what? It's okay. The moment's passed. We can't.
It's too late now.
Anyhow,
Oh, fuck this movie, Clark.
let's
Fuck this movie.
let's move on to the meat and the potatoes. So, Curtis, after watching this, he said, "Fuck your sister, fuck your mama, fuck your grandma, and most of all, fuck you." Let's talk about House of 1,000 Corpses. Curtis, feelings on this?
I love this movie. I genuinely watch this movie at least once a year, especially around Halloween. It reminds me of everything creepy, the urban legends, the weird stories that your friends tell each other in the dark, and I think Rob Zombie does a really good job of bringing that like out in this film,
Right.
and the goriness to it, the I get a really strong like Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel when I watch this movie. It brings me back to the first time I ever watched that movie, which is a feeling that's hard to actually get come out of you. Just that uneasiness that you feel. I think this is one of Rob Zombie's best films that he's ever done. I'm not a huge fan of Rob Zombie films, but the series following this family is one of my favorite. And House of the Thousand Corpses is a great start to that series.
I'm gonna have to say I didn't even know this was a series coming into this, and the very beginning of the movie is absolutely my favorite part of the movie, and that's when Captain Spaulding's introduced. He's like a Southern clown, and he's just kind of like, I don't fucking care who you are, I don't like you, don't fuck with me, get the fuck out of my face kind of guy. And some guys run in to rob their little horror ride shack, where it's kind of like one of those off the road horror attraction places that's just kind of there by a gas station. And they're demanding money, and Captain Spaulding's like not having any of it. And the guy's like, I'm gonna give you a count to 3, I'm gonna blow your fucking head off. And man, one of the best scenes of all time, my personal opinion. Watch this movie just to see this scene. I'm not gonna spoil the rest for you. I kind of already did, but worth watching.
It's so good.
So
Do you know who that is? Who plays Captain Spaulding?
Who plays Captain Spaulding?
So his name is Sid Haig. He's been acting for, gosh, let's see, since '58. So what is that? That's 60 years. Yeah, 61 years he had been acting for. He's done all kinds of things. He was in Gunsmoke back in the day, the old Western show, stuff like that.
Kill Bill.
Yes, he was in Kill Bill. He actually passed away last month.
Oh no.
Yes. Yeah. So they had just, I believe they finished up, wrapped up 3 from Hell, which is the most recent in this movie series. And
right, that just came out.
yeah, so just a little, pour one out for Sid there, because I've realized after hearing you talk about it, I read your text messages, but after hearing you talk about it, you really love that character. And
Absolutely.
I don't want you to be disappointed when you go to try and find him at a con somewhere and realize, I don't want you to find out that way. I'd rather you find out right here in the comfort of our podcast. But yeah, right. Unfortunately, he was up there in age. He's a great dude. I thought he was a great actor. Unfortunately, he did pass away very recently. So, but
favorite character ever in any movie.
Yeah,
he shows up in the movie in 3 scenes.
He's so
Those
good.
are the best scenes. He reprised this role 3 times after this film. The first time in 2005 in The Devil's Rejects, which apparently is the next movie in the series, which we're going to have to watch at some point. And then I believe it was an animated video, The Haunted World of El Super Bisto.
Okay.
I have not seen it, but we'll have to check it out whether or not it's a movie or not. I want to watch it at some point, and we'll do whatever. And then Three from Hell, which just came out in September.
Yep, and that's
So
the final one that they've got so far. I don't know if he has plans for more stories with them or whatnot, but it's
right.
following this family. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the first two. I haven't watched Three from Hell yet because I'm saving it for a good viewing party. And
Right.
then, yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I don't know how they
Right.
do Three from Hell because honestly, the way Devil's Rejects ends, I'm like, I don't even know how Three from Hell can happen. Which that should pique your interest right there. Now you should really want to watch it, which you already
I'm
do.
going to. There's no way. So, the way Rob Zombie kind of makes his films is he puts his wife in them, and he puts himself in them, and he puts his music in them. So all the music in this movie, and I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure all of it is his music.
I wanna say yeah. Pretty sure that's how all of his films work. I know he does get some help sometimes from other bands. He might have them come in, I think, and do a couple of songs for like the original soundtracks and whatnot. But he has a heavy influence on all of the music and cinematography and all of that. I mean, you got to think these are his babies, you know.
Yeah. Well, he definitely puts a lot of love in them. And there are scenes where there's kind of like cutaways where it seems like there's an interview between some of the crazy people in this film or this wacky zany family. And I really don't want to fucking spoil this film because it's absolutely one of the most action-packed horror movies I've ever seen in terms of just shit just happens and I can't look away. There's no reason to not pay full attention to this film at all.
Clark, we
Um,
found him with a Planet of the Apes doll stuck up his ass.
yes,
So Stucky, do you remember Stucky from the
I
beginning with
remember
Spaulding?
Stucky.
So that's Michael J. Pollard. He's been in Sleepaway Camp 3. He's one of the camp counselors, which we'll get to eventually as well. It's on the list. He was in Scrooged, and he's been acting for as long as Sid Haig had. I think those two were really good friends. I'm not 100% sure on that. But a lot of the kind of research I did into Sid and Michael J beforehand, it seems like they had a lot of fun working together throughout the years. So,
Well,
um,
going back to like Rob Zombie, he invited people to his basement, his actual house basement, in those interview scenes where he's interviewing the crazy people and like, the scene where the female's like, "If you have to kill him, just fucking kill him." Those were all filmed in his basement.
oh
Which he
wow,
after the movie was done filming, he invited them post production. He said, hey, "Come to my basement. I'm gonna have you do a couple scenes." And
what?
yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, that's
Um,
awesome.
there are a couple scenes in the movie where you see like posters for missing young boys, and those are actually posters of Rob Zombie and his brother, who's the lead singer of Powerman 5000, when they were kids. So like if you see a poster that says they're missing young boys, you actually see Rob Zombie and his brother.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is that his cameo in the movie? Is that his only cameo in this movie?
You know what? I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I haven't dug that deep into his brother. I'm not familiar, but I believe Rob Zombie himself is in the film when you're in the tunnels. You know that there's someone in the tunnel that you see very briefly, and he just looks at the girl and he kind of backs away and goes in the darkness. I think that is Rob Zombie. I know that he's in the film. I would have to let me see the cameo here. Yeah, I can't find it, but we
Okay.
could pull that up later. Just absolutely wonderful. Dwight from The Office is one of the main character. I don't know if you can really say main characters in this film, because who are you rooting for in this movie? Like that's a good question to just
That's
kind of
that's
ask.
a really tough question. Oh man, yeah.
Short
If I had to
story.
root, sorry, if I had to root for someone in
No.
this movie, it'd probably be Captain Spaulding.
Yes, 100%.
That's the
And
only
he's kind
character
of.
I don't feel bad about anything he does.
I couldn't decide whether or not he was evil, whether he was good. Especially watching the ending, I had no idea what was going on. He was just kind of like, yeah, I don't fucking care. I'm just kind of here. Uh, but it was good. It was a
Okay,
fantastic
cameo.
movie.
Here we go. Here's his cameo. He's Dr. Wolfenstein's assistant on the black and white films that you see pop up throughout the beginning.
Oh,
That's Zombie.
okay, cool.
Yep,
That's good to know.
just to clear that up.
Some of the you want to go over like very briefly the plot of the movie. We're jumping around with my ADHD here, but it's just such a fantastic film. He The synopsis is some kids drive into this horror attraction. They go on a ride and they hear about this urban legend in the town called Dr. Satan, who performed genetic experiments. And they go asking around and they go looking for the tree and then wind up going to this house full of insane people. And from there, it's just a kind of a roller coaster ride. Not even a roller coaster ride, it just keeps going down and down and down and down. It's just high adrenaline. You think things are already crazy enough? Oh, they get crazier and they get crazier. And when there's a lull, it jumps right back up.
I completely agree. I feel like there's so many aspects in this movie that are so much fun, like the murder tour where they go through the different serial killers to lead up to the Dr. Satan story, which is where Dwight Schrute and his friends kind of their interest gets piqued.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of fun. Like I said, Spaulding's definitely probably my favorite character. If I wanted to listen to an asshole, I'd fart. That's what his shirt says. You know, they oh man. I don't know. Every time I feel like this movie, like you were saying, every time I feel like it was gonna dip and kind of go into a lull where you feel like it's gonna get boring, I think they just shoot you with another adrenaline shot and they just keep cranking it up. Like this movie does not slow down for anything or anyone. If anything, it just keeps pounding and going higher. Like you get to the house, so they're at the house, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a labor of love.
and someone says, "Go get Grandpa," right? And then another character shows up. I forgot about the grandpa for a long time.
Yeah.
And and then he screams, "It's showtime!" and then goes into his comedic rant, like
He's
things
just
like
talking
that.
about vaginas.
Yeah, yes.
That's all it was. It's like, don't wake up, Grandma.
Don't wake up, Grandma. Oh man. And then I don't know. So here's my downtick. Here's my only like big I don't like it kind of a thing. There is some bad acting in this movie. There's some pretty bad acting. The robbers in Captain Spaulding's shop are terrible. The cops
Pretty sure. Yeah.
are bad. Sherry Moon, in all fairness, is not a great actress.
Nope. But
I
she's
love
great
these
psycho.
movies, but yeah, exactly. If you just cast out her bad acting and just fall in love with her creepy sociopath, like killer instincts, she's great. But if you actually pay attention to what she's doing and you try to like grade her, she'll get a very terrible grade. And then the last guy is that damn liquor store sex shop guy. Like, he is so bad. And
That was Goober?
that was Goober.
I love Goober. He's my favorite.
He's such a bad actor, though.
This whole movie was not. This movie is not about acting, like whatsoever.
No.
I can't make a case for anyone's acting. This is just. If I had to pick like a different movie and compare it to something else, it would be Nothing But Trouble with that Dan Aykroyd movie, where Dan Aykroyd is just his insanity is completely off the wall. You know that movie with Demi Moore, Chevy Chase, and
No.
John Candy. Let me make sure. But
Are you?
Trouble,
Is it planes, trains, and automobiles? Is that
no,
what?
it's
No,
not,
that's
Nothing
not.
But Trouble.
Nothing but trouble.
So they go to this house, like the police take them to this house or something because they're speeding, and this guy handles like everything. This crazy old judge who's played by Dan Aykroyd, and it's just off the wall insane. This movie is very comparable to that in terms of like what's going on here, but only good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the movie poster for this right now, and I've never seen this.
Yeah, don't.
But it looks. I mean, it looks creepy as hell.
Nothing.
There's-
It's weird. It's not. Yeah, we could talk about Nothing But Trouble later. It's not a horror movie. It's supposed to be a comedy. It's just weird. Uh,
Yeah.
this movie though, 10 out of 10. Would watch again.
Love it.
Wanted to
Yep.
watch it again last night. I have to say, Dr. Satan is probably one of the coolest characters. Dr. Satan.
Dr. Satan!
Also, there's a little bit more trivia here. They mention the father in the movie. Remember when they introduced Tiny?
Yes.
How his face was burnt. He's one of the characters who lives in the house, and he he's kind of like he doesn't really give a fuck. He lets one of the characters kind of go from capture.
Oh my god, that was such a funny scene.
He's like, all right, whatever. He eats from a dog bowl and he slurps the food up. His father, like it's mentioned that his father like burnt his face. You actually meet his father later on in the movie, and he's carrying I don't know what was it? Was it like a chainsaw or whoever it is that there's a big character kind of carrying a weapon whose face is all bloodied and he looks completely deformed. And they don't explain this in the film, but that is the father.
That's supposed to be Tiny's dad, really?
That's the father. Yeah.
Holy cow! So that's the you're talking about the abomination that Doctor Satan made, right?
Yeah, the one who
Okay.
comes up that Dr. Satan's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Doctor Satan's like outfit or costume or the creation of him? Because I thought it was really cool.
He looked like a marionette. It would make sense if he's that old but still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He needs like an exoskeleton basically to keep moving.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like a bald eagle. Like even the shape, he looks like he has a beak, you know? He just reminded me of like a really creepy looking eagle or like a vulture almost.
Right.
So I don't know if there's some symbolism there, some hidden symbolism from Rob Zombie there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very strong movie. I don't know many other movies that can. After watching it, this is probably. I mean, I remember watching this movie in 2004.
Yeah.
My buddy came over to my house. I was like a sophomore in high school, and I wasn't supposed to probably be watching this film in my house. So my buddy brought it over. We went to my room. You know, we turned off the lights. We waited for everyone to fall asleep and watched it in the middle of the night. And yeah, I just remember being so creeped out and weirded out by this movie. And then as soon as it was over, I leaned over to my buddy and he's passed out cold. He's already asleep. And I put it on again because I just wanted to watch it again. And like every time I watch this movie, I get that same feeling, that same like uneasy, like, oh my God, these aren't supernatural things. These aren't Jasons or Michaels. This is just a family that lives in a backwoods county that you run across. It's and I keep going back to it, but it's that Texas Chainsaw feel. It's so natural and unnatural at the same time. Like it's more realistic to me than a Michael or a Jason. Like you could be driving across, you know, especially where we're at, you know, the desert, and you could be driving across long periods of fields and never see another soul. If you turned off the road and came across a family like this, that's not unrealistic to me. It's pretty damn realistic and pretty possible. So I think that's what also gives me that awesome, like that feeling of, yeah, this is creepy. This is good. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great. I don't have anything bad.
A lot of this movie was inspired by Charles Manson's family's home movies. Like Sherry Moon Zombie is the wife of Rob Zombie. She played Baby. She's always a main character in his films. She's always playing something.
Uh-huh.
She also plays an extra. She's playing a young, tall woman dressed as a nurse pushing a baby carriage. This movie, they offhand say they mention Halloween like twice, but there's really no connection to Halloween aside from that.
No, they're Satanistic worshippers for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have one note that I wrote about Halloween in here, which was primarily just that their Halloween festivities are way crazier than my Halloween festivities. You know, I go trick or treating with my kid. I don't drop people down into Dr. Satan's lair. That's for sure.
Yeah. It was also originally they had an NC-17 rating, but they cut it for the R rating, and they're not releasing the cut footage, or they haven't.
Not yet.
Well, I don't think they ever will.
Well, so here's a fun fact for you. Scream Factory, which is a big reseller of horror films, they're infamous for reaching out to production companies and getting the rights to these films and giving you that unadulterated cut, extras, behind the scenes, interviews, stuff like that. They'll release like a nice two disc Blu-ray with all of that fun footage kind of bound together, and I'm holding out hope that Scream Factory works with them and does that. And if you haven't checked out Scream Factory, do, because they have a plethora of titles on their site for really, really good prices when you talk about 2-disc Blu-rays with all of that content. They're like $15, $18 sometimes, but they're movies that you normally wouldn't be able to find anywhere else for that price on a Blu-ray with that much footage.
Right.
And we're not sponsored by them. Just want to verify that. Like, this is not a sponsored ad. This is just because they've got, I've been looking at their website now for 2 weeks. Shocktober's in full effect. They've got amazing deals. Like,
nice.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored by anyone, by the way.
No.
So, no sponsors. This is a labor of love, folks.
Hashtag no sponsors.
Hashtag feel free to send us money. Hashtag we'd be willing to do sponsors. I don't know. We'll see.
Where can people follow us? That's what I want to know.
You can follow us on, how about you give us that information, Curtis? Curtis is our lead pretty much on the majority of the things. I'm just a pretty voice. Curtis he leads our social media. You could follow us, I believe it's two Guys Horror Pod.
Yes.
At Twitter.
Yep, at Twitter and at Instagram. You can find us on Spotify very easily by just searching for Two Guys and Some Horror. That's probably the fastest way to find us on Spotify, but we're also on Anchor. And Anchor allows us to go to many other platforms for our podcast and get it out there for everyone to listen to. So please share, email us at twoguysandsomehorror@gmail.com and let us know what you want to hear, because we're down to have guests on the show. We definitely want to hear your guys' opinions as well as ours.
100%. Yeah. Please follow us. Give us a follow on Twitter. Definitely reach out to us. If you have constructive feedback, we are willing to hear it. Other than that, I think we're trying things out. We're testing the waters. We're trying to see what fits for us. I think this is a lot of fun. We're enjoying ourselves with watching these movies and talking about them. We hope you guys are too.
Hell yeah. We love you guys.
Yeah. Peace out. Make good choices and don't do too many drugs. If you do, I don't condone what you're doing. I don't know if I condone what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am. I've been stuck in this basement for a while. Please send help. Dr. Satan is probably one of the coolest characters. Dr. Satan!
Dr. Satan!
Also,